Traditionally, each Sunday in Advent is marked by one of four themes: death, judgment, heaven, and hell. It is a season of preparation to celebrate the Incarnation. It is also a season of preparation for the final judgment, the last day, the end of the age, and yet also the beginning of a new era, which Christians have called the eschaton. The eschaton is a great word that stands in for everything that accompanies the end. That's literally what the word means, end. But it also stands in for heaven, for the judgment, the marriage supper of the Lamb, the last day. This side of the eschaton, that is the present, is marked each Advent with a recognition of our longing for it, our longing for the day when all will be put right. It has become popular in some places to celebrate what's known as a blue Christmas in the days leading up to Christmas. Blue Christmas seeks to recognize the grief and pain of many that they experience during the holiday as they miss those they love but see no longer. If you found comfort in these events, I am happy for you, but I maintain that Advent, when properly observed, makes Blue Christmas unnecessary. This is a season for our grief. It is a season for our longings. It is a season for our anticipations, our frustrations, our disappointment, and our hope. This Sunday is traditionally Death Sunday, after all. And so what better day to reminisce and recognize on the grief that we all experience throughout the year. Because it is here and now that we can turn our teary faces toward the hope of the one whose advent, whose coming, will wipe every tear from our eyes. The days are surely coming, says the Lord, when I will fulfill the promise I made. The reading from Jeremiah begins. Even as we clamor in our grief, we at least have this to hold on to. He who promises is faithful. The eschaton will reach us eventually. We will see with our own eyes that for which we have long hoped. But the meantime is almost certainly a time of meanness. The downside of hope is that the same inspiration it gives us to look forward reminds us of how terrible and painful it is to look around us. Every moment that the promised future is left unfulfilled is an invitation to despair. Every moment that the heart aches for what it knows to be true reminds us that we must wait in the aching. The stabbing thoughts and piercing reminders are enough to make us lose hope altogether. And sometimes it feels that it might just be better to be surprised come the last day than expectant. But to do this would be a disservice to ourselves, not to mention to the God who has called us to hope, even in the midst of despair. Grief, while painful, is but another form that love takes. And we, who have been called to love, must be prepared to continue loving even in the face of death. And we find the strength to do this, to love even when the price of that love is pain in Christ, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured even the cross. When St. Paul said that love endures all things, he knew what he was talking about. I learned recently that neuroscientists have been studying the biological causes for grief. They were curious to know just why we experience this emotion. And what they found is that social animals, like humans, are biologically driven to miss people that we care about. It's what keeps us together. It's what maintains our relationships and ensures that a couple, for instance, doesn't abandon their child or each other, never to think of them again. The human species is dependent upon that impulse to maintain established relationships. But when a couple divorces and that need to maintain a relationship is frustrated, the brain has to essentially rewire itself. When a loved one dies and we can no longer see them, the brain must establish new pathways, and this is painful. So when it is said that the greater the love, the greater the grief, it is scientifically proven to be true. Grief is the frustration of a desire. And the greater the desire for something or someone, the more painful is the frustration of that desire. To grieve is to painfully look deep within the heart of God and see His own desires for us, frustrated by us most of the time. It is in grief that we might perhaps long for the days before the forbidden fruit was eaten. It is in grief that we might long for the eschaton more. And perhaps the thing that makes grief a bearable burden is that it is something not unfelt by God, who grieved His friend Lazarus. And as we prepare to celebrate all that it means for God to become a human being at Christmas, we spend these weeks remembering just what it is to be human. We learn in loving each other how to love God. And in learning to love God, we learn to love one another better. And so, when our desires are frustrated and we experience that pain of grief, it's my hope that this will be of some comfort. Our grief is but another manifestation of our love. And the root of our love is found in God. And God will never disappoint. As the suffrages for morning prayer say, "In you, Lord, is our hope, and we shall never hope in vain." As St. Augustine said, the entire life of a good Christian is in fact an exercise of holy desire. You do not yet see what you long for, but the very act of desiring prepares you, so that when He comes you may see and be utterly satisfied. So, brothers and sisters, let us continue to desire, for we shall be filled. Such is the Christian life. Certainly, the pain of longing, of grief, of unrequited love, rejection, and all other frustrated desires is exceedingly difficult. But the satisfaction of those desires will be more than we can possibly imagine. Death is evil, but death shall die, as the one who longs for us satisfies His desire to see us face to face by shattering the tomb and shuddering hell. But if we wish to see Him, we must persevere in faith and hope and know that He will keep His word and that He will not abandon us to the power of the grave. And grief is one of the ways that we do this, because what is grief if not love persevering in the face of death? Let us continue. Such is our Christian life. The reading from Paul's letter in Thessalonians, while written by a man who was alive to a group of people who were also alive is read now as a letter of a dead man. And the reading, his opening line in this context, imagining that he speaks for all his fellow sojourners who now find their place at the throne of David, beholding the face of our King, whom they see and in whom they hope, just brings a chill down my spine. As someone who just recently suffered a loss and is in the midst of grief, I can't help but to imagine St. Paul saying those words to us here at Holy Cross from the foot of the heavenly throne, surrounded by all our beloved dead. How can we thank God enough for you in return for all the joy that we feel before our God because of you? Night and day we pray most earnestly that we may see you face to face and restore whatever is lacking in your faith. The communion of saints awaits our contribution to the life of faith. They stand around the throne of heaven praying for us in our several journeys, that we might come to them as they one day will come to us at the last day, when the dead are raised and all are put right. And if grief is the price I must pay for love, then so be it. Because I simply cannot imagine a life where I had never known the love that I have been shown, even as now I must learn to live with pieces of that love no longer plainly visible. So yes, the grief brought about by death is painful, but I would not ask it to end. The anticipation of all things to be set right is frustrating, but I would not ask it to end. The longing for the kingdom is near unbearable, but I would not ask for it or any of these things to end in any way except on the other side of the eschaton, where all of our frustrated desires are met with ultimate satisfaction, where sorrow and pain are no more, neither sighing but life everlasting. Such is Advent. Such is our Christian life. Such is our Christian life.